So you join me editing another video, and I'm quite proud and pleased to say that we've passed 1,000 subscribers, which is great. And whilst I edit usually in this sort of environment, I thought, or I often am aware that as part of my videos, we get a noise that I wondered whether you'd ever spotted. So I thought I'd do a very short video about some of the background noises that you hear when I'm editing inside. So I'm acutely aware that you can often hear a clonk in the background, and it's delivered by this clock and a couple of others I'm going to show you. This is a Gents synchrotron type clock that delivers a 30-second pulse to various different dials. There we go. And it's operated by a long pendulum, which is inside, and this is the master unit of my system. It's an electrical clock that's got the master circuitry up there, and then it's got a number of dials that are around the house. The pendulum has an involar rod, which makes it very accurate because it doesn't extend and contract in the heat. And every 30 seconds, this trip wheel allows the lever here to open these connections, and in doing so, this contact is made like that. The moment the contact is made, the coils here pulls the whole lever forward, and that sends a charge or a circuit around, which then closes all the individual coils on every single dial. So you can have up to 400 dials in a circuit, so you can see that now trips every 30 seconds. In the room where I edit, there is this ex-GPO style Gents magenta clock, which is a 1 second pulse master clock. This one does not have any slaves attached to it, but every minute the dial is advanced 1 minute. Opposite this, there is another Gents master clock. In addition to that, there is this 1930s clock face, which looks like a normal clock, but in actual fact, as you can see from the wire cable, is what is known as a slave clock. You are never short of time in my house. So this is a bronze library surface mounted slave. This is a fairly large, quite rare 24-hour dial. A more common type Bakelite cased Gents classroom type clock. Another 24-hour display clock, typical of post office use. This one is actually ex-GPO. And another 1950s GPO clock. Again, all connected on the same system. And then moving into the 1960s, we have a late 60s, early 70s sort of general room clock. Very utilitarian, quite basic, but again, much more updated. And these were one of the last they were made, right through until the late 1970s. I even have an ex-British Rail one, like they might have used in a railway station, which is marked with the British Rail symbol. And I was particularly pleased to get this double-sided clock, which has two faces, but in actual fact is really just two clocks mounted on a bezel. They're not separate at all, or not conjoined at all. They're just two clocks mounted back to back. The slaves even extend down into the garage, where they're clearly on view to help me keep track of time when I'm working down there. My clocks are run off these lead acid gel batteries that are used for stair lifts. My system uses 36 volts, and the batteries are constantly trickle charged so that in the event of a power cut, the dials and the movement doesn't stop. I could have up to 400 dials on this system, and this is a sort of industrial setup that would quite happily power a workshop or a factory floor, where this lockable case would be in the manager's office, and you can set the entire complex all to the same time from this master unit. You could even get special units like this timer, which would turn lights on and off, or to run buzzers and bells and generally keep your factory in working order. You can see we have a day wheel on here, so this is only cut out to work for the weekdays, Monday to Friday, and on Saturday and Sunday the contacts at the bottom would shut the buzzers down, whereas the big wheel at the back runs for 24 hours. But I can even take contacts off here for every 5 minutes or so. So there's a whole range of different contacts I can use. On my wheel, there's actually a contact at the back here with a band so that it could run a night light overnight and turn that all on. Of course, it's all analog and pre-digital, but it all still works. So thank you for the 1,000 subscribers. It was a challenge of mine to try and achieve, and I'm really pleased that people like it. And as I said, I thought you'd like a little insight into some of the background noises you hear and to why they're there. I'm really proud of my industrial clock system with its 13 dials on 3 different floors and even in 2 different buildings. Thank you so much, and do continue to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.